In this video, I'm breaking down the 5 biggest ETF themes I believe could shape markets over the next 5 years. Some will be familiar while others may not be what you expect. But once you look beneath the surface, you'll see that these names are closely connected, with growth in one often creating opportunities in the next. So in this video, I'll show you what is driving each theme, what the strongest investment opportunities may be, which ASX listed ETFs could help Aussies benefit, currency hedging, and the key risks, and why investing in all 5 may leave your portfolio far more concentrated than it appears. Let's start with a theme everyone already has an opinion on. Theme 1, artificial intelligence. Everyone's already thinking Nvidia, Microsoft, the usual suspects. But the truth is, the easy money in AI chips has largely already been made. The next stage of this boom isn't about who builds the smartest model, it's about who can actually power it. The International Energy Agency reckons global data center electricity use needs to more than double to 945 terawatt hours by 2030. That's more than the whole of Japan consumes today, with AI-focused data centers already jumping roughly 50% in 2025. The bottleneck has broadened beyond chips to include grid connections, electrical equipment, cooling, networking, backup power, and copper. A lot of copper. That's why my preferred play here isn't a typical tech ETF. It's the Global X Artificial Intelligence Infrastructure ETF, ticker AINF. Instead of just owning the big names, AINF owns the companies behind the actual guts of AI infrastructure. Think Arista Networks for networking, Schneider Electric for electrical equipment, energy companies like GE Vernova, and even copper miners like Freeport-McMoRan. The management fee is 0.57% per annum, and it's unhedged, meaning it's exposed to overseas currency movements. I like this one because you're not trying to guess which AI model wins the race. Nearly every serious AI company still needs power, cooling, and network gear regardless of who's on top. And if you already own something like VGS or NDQ, you probably already own the big AI names. AINF fills the gap those funds don't cover. If you want broader AI exposure, there's GXAI, which owns everything from chip makers to cloud platforms, still at 0.57% per annum. Or if you want the pure semiconductor bet, there's SEMI at 0.45%, owning names like TSMC and Broadcom. Now here's the risk with all of this. Expectations have run pretty hard ahead of actual profits in this space. AI could genuinely transform the economy, and you could still lose money if companies overbuild or if you're paying prices that already assume everything goes perfectly. Which brings us straight into theme number 2, because none of this AI infrastructure works without one thing. Theme 2, energy. AI may be pushing electricity demand higher, but it's only one part of the bigger story. The IEA expects data centers to account for approximately 10% of electricity demand growth through to 2030. Most of the increase will come from industrial growth, air conditioning, and the wider electrification of transport, buildings, and manufacturing. Emerging economies, led by China, India, and Southeast Asia, are expected to generate nearly 80% of this additional consumption. Together, these forces could push global electricity demand around 3.6% higher each year, roughly 50% faster than during the previous decade. Renewables and nuclear are expected to provide around half of global electricity by 2030, up from 42% today. But fossil fuels won't disappear. Natural gas generation is also expected to expand, while coal declines only gradually. So this demand is not going to be met by one source. It's going to take everything at once. So for uranium, my pick is the BetaShares Global Uranium ETF, URNM. Its fee is 0.69%. It's the more concentrated uranium play, with Kazatomprom, Cameco, and the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust making up close to 45% of the fund. There's also Atom from Global X, same fee but broader, adding in nuclear engineering and reactor component companies. For traditional oil and gas, there's Fuel, the BetaShares Global Energy Companies ETF. Fee is 0.57%. It's currency hedged and holds names like Exxon, Shell, and Chevron. These are cash generative, profitable businesses benefiting from energy security concerns, though it's still a cyclical bet. Then there's Clean for clean energy and HGen for hydrogen, which I'll be upfront with you about. It's the most speculative fund in the entire list. The IEA themselves have flagged that high costs and slow infrastructure development have caused a wave of hydrogen project delays. So treat that one as a small satellite position in your portfolio, not a core holding. The lesson here is that these 5 energy ETFs are not interchangeable. URNM is a uranium bet. Fuel is an oil and gas bet. They will not move the same way, and you need to pick based on which part of the energy puzzle you actually believe in. Now, speaking of puzzles, there's a section in my newsletter each week where I rank which of these themes are moving from base into trend right now, because timing matters just as much as picking the right ETF. There's a 4-week free trial below with no credit card required. All right, back into it, because theme 3 is the one that quietly connects everything we've just been talking about. Theme 3, copper. You cannot build a data center, a power grid, or an electric vehicle without copper. And here's the problem. A new copper mine can take over a decade to go from discovery to production. Meanwhile, all grades at existing mines are declining, meaning miners need to process more rock just to get the same amount of metal out. The IEA estimates that current copper supply could fall short by about 30% of demand by 2035. That's a serious gap. For ASX-listed copper miner exposure, there are two main options. CPPR, the Global Pure Play Copper Miners ETF, charges just 0.39% and gives you the purest copper exposure through an equal weight index. The catch, it is only launched in April 2026, so it's still small, around $13.8 million, so keep an eye on liquidity. Then there's Wire, the Global X Copper Miners ETF, which has been running since 2022 and has a fee of 0.65%. It holds names like Tech Resources, BHP, and Antofagasta. Wire gives you scale and history. CPPR gives you purity and a lower fee. Neither one gives you copper itself though. You're buying miners, which means you're also buying mine costs, political risk, and management decisions. Copper miners could rise while a poorly run miner still loses money. That's worth remembering. Now let's shift gears completely, because theme 4 isn't driven by supply chains or electricity demand. It's driven by something a lot more unpredictable: human conflict. Theme 4, defense. Global military spending hit $2.887 trillion in 2025. That's a 2.9% increase after inflation, with European spending up 14% in a single year. NATO members have now agreed to spend 5% of GDP annually on defense and security by 2035. Australia's own defense strategy is adding another $53 billion over the next decade. But modern defense spending isn't just tanks and ammunition anymore. It's drones, satellites, cybersecurity, and AI-powered surveillance systems. That means the opportunity here is broader than most people assume. There are three main ASX defense ETFs worth knowing. DTech, the Global X Defense Tech ETF, it's the cheapest at 0.5%. So don't let the tech branding fool you. About 87% of the portfolio is still classic aerospace and defense names like Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. ARMR from BetaShares charges 0.55% and restricts its holdings to companies based in NATO members or major allied nations, which makes it the cleanest NATO-aligned option. And DFND from Van Eck charges 0.65%, holding 45 companies with a broader European and Asian mix, plus additional ethical screens, which is important if you're worried about the ethical aspect of investing in businesses involved in weapons and military conflict. Here's the risk though: defense stocks can rally the moment a government announces a new budget, years before any actual revenue shows up. And if geopolitical tension eases even slightly, these valuations can reset hard and fast. Which brings us to the final theme, one that's connected to defense in a way most investors don't think about. Theme 5, precious metals. The same uncertainty pushing up defense budgets is one of the factors driving demand for gold. Gold has no issuing government and no default risk, which makes it the go-to safe haven when the world feels unstable. Global gold demand crossed 5,000 tons for the first time ever in 2025, and central banks alone bought 863 tons of it. My preferred broad play here is ETP MPM, the Global X Physical Precious Metals Basket. It's backed by actual allocated gold, silver, platinum, and palladium, roughly 60% gold, 25% silver, and the rest split between platinum and palladium, with a fee of just 0.44% unhedged. And if you want more aggressive exposure, there's SLVM for silver miners and MNRS, the currency hedged gold miners ETF. But here's the distinction that trips up a lot of people. Physical metals give you cleaner exposure to the actual commodity price. Miners can outperform in a strong market, but they're still equities, which means they can fall alongside the share market during a crisis, even while physical gold is climbing. Two very different risk profiles wearing the same precious metals label. Putting it all together, hedging and diversification. Before investing, there are two final things to check: overlap and currency. These themes are closely connected. AI infrastructure needs energy and copper, while geopolitical tension supports defense spending and precious metals. Because AINF already holds energy and copper related companies, adding Wire or URNM may concentrate the same underlying drivers. A better option is to keep these themes as smaller satellite positions around a diversified core and check the holdings before combining them. Then there's the currency. The Australian dollar has risen from an average of around 62 US cents in 2025 to approximately 70 cents today, while current forecasts range anywhere between 64 to 75 cents. You need to ask yourself, where do you think the Aussie dollar will be in 5 years? And factor this into your choices. None of the ETFs covered comes with an exact hedged and unhedged pair. The closest comparison is MNRS and GDX. Both invest in global gold miners, but MNRS is hedged while GDX index is unhedged. They track different indices, so it's not a perfect like-for-like comparison. Among the ETFs in this video, MNRS and Fuel are currency hedged, meaning their returns should more closely reflect the performance of their underlying companies. ETP MPM, Wire, AINF, GXAI, SEMI, and DTEC are unhedged. A rising Australian dollar will generally favour hedge funds, while a falling dollar can boost unhedged returns and potentially provide some protection during periods of global market stress. The key is to make that choice deliberately. An ETF trading on the ASX in Australian dollars does not automatically mean its currency exposure is hedged. And this is what we cover in more detail in our ETFadviser newsletter. International ETF opportunities most Australian investors are missing, like AI, robotics, defense, and more. Click the link below because right now there's 20% off yearly subscriptions. And if you grab the yearly one, you'll get a 20-minute one-on-one call with me where I'll explain to you exactly how it all works. So check it out.